All right. Please introduce yourself, Lindsey Marie. Is the correct way to pronounce it?
Yes. Thank you so much, Adonik, for having me on today. Who knows what we're going to dive into? Hopefully, some interesting topics briefly. My name is Lindsey Marie. I'm living in Dubai, but born and raised in America. I am a business consultant with a focus on marketing, and I really love working with tech, startups, AI, and just really cool, innovative people with nice ideas, structuring their businesses in a certain way that brings clarity. Because if I know anything as a visionary myself, as a creative, is that you have to have direction. We like to bounce all these ideas out there, be creative, talk to people, but to really make something happen, you have to have focus and clarity. So that's where I come in.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it. I like how you think. It's I think to sharpen this clarity, it's like for me, what I see is people has to go through a journey of experiencing different things, and then kind of feeling the resonance of what, what makes sense for them. I think it comes from like width and depth of in any discipline, and then seeing where you can produce value and where you can enjoy it at the same time, because otherwise you get burned out. I mean, would like to know more about your journey, how you started, what was the, what was the lessons that were most important to you, and
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. I mean, just like you said, because energy is everything, experience is everything. And you just said yourself, in order to get certain places in life, to figure things out, it comes from your experiences, your path in life. I think to know thyself means you have to have experiences before you can do anything and figure out what you want and what you have to do in life. You have to figure out what you don't want. You have to figure out what doesn't work, trials and errors. Mentors really help, finding people that have already walked that path, of course. So, in a nutshell, like that's what I've done. I actually switched careers maybe like 4 years back now. I was in medical, but I switched and I just started off by learning, gaining those experiences, figuring out what I like to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I started out working with business owners on the marketing, web development, and setup side of it. Figured out I was pretty good at just solving like smaller, simple problems, getting my skills up in photography, design, things like that. And it just kind of piled on top of that. So next I'm starting an agency, providing digital marketing services, building a really cool team that, and once you have that foundation, once I moved up a level. So
Mm-hmm.
into consulting, starting to build really nice design, branding, investment decks for clients, and still elevating my social strategy side of it. So I make it so much content. I get millions of views now, and like the Lindsey a few years back would have never imagined.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beautiful part of the process that I'm experiencing right now. I'm so grateful. Um, so now that's what I get to do in my day to day is provide higher level strategy and consultation from a
Mm-hmm.
systematic point of view, but also still be really creative and make awesome content plans, whether I'm behind or in front of the camera. So yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, it's good to be able to see what's how you see in front of yourself in the camera, so at least you can simulate it while you're acting. Yeah, like I've seen some people talk about it. It's cool. It's cool. I mean, I'm in the start of the journey of social media. I feel I haven't been posting, even though I think I should have been posting. I had a lot of content, but I think I was too shy to let things to be in public. I think I just got over it, and I think it just for me is also idea of standards. Like I want to release stuff which are good quality, and if the podcast essentially was the simpler start where I can just bounce ideas in public and communicate those ideas. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I think this journey of being creative. I think in future, what I see, and I've heard some people say it, that the world will have a lot of creators working with agents. And
Mhm.
so instead of companies owning stuff, it will be more like individuals, creatives will create a lot of this, products, solutions, and due to the, influence, the actual thing will start growing, and their business, essentially, they will tap into their community, and that will create value for them. And so people will think, will close the gap between, I found something, let everyone try it, and I recommend it because.
Okay. Are you saying that actually, as individuals, we hold so much power on influencing the market and businesses in itself? Yeah, I agree absolutely. And you've been doing a great job that putting your like self out there more, making content. If I have any advice, it's like never get stuck in the perfectionist bubble. Who cares if if you were starting to ride a bike for the first time? Is it wobbly and awkward and did you fall a few times? Absolutely. But did you learn and get better? Yeah, same thing for content. Like you gain more experience, it's the same experience phenomenon. You get better as you go. So have no fear, put yourself out there. You may know yourself from the business standpoint, but do you know yourself from the branding standpoint, the social side? You have to figure it out. It's a beautiful journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like bouncing from left to right. Kind of like you create a lot of content and then you see which one converts. It's like now I get like some of the videos like 1,500 views, but I release the video from the same podcast, the cut, and get like 4 views or 5 views, and I'm like release 5 of them. I'm just like, okay, this one gets 1,500, and this one just get 4 views, and I'm like, why? Why is it such a big differentiation?
I know, right? Would you believe me if I told you there's like an exact formula to success that can break you out of that 200, 2,000 view jail?
Well, of course I would believe. There's the thing is like for me, it's still black box, like it's an unknown area. Whereas like I'm putting my content out and I'm trying to understand how it converts, how get people eyes on the content to make sure things build traction and then people are aware of what we're working on. I think with what Sabi does, I think it's mainly that our goal is to bring this impact awareness of what business does outside of the environment and what like the depth of the consumption, like when people eat too much sugar, their health system breaks
Yeah,
apart. So it's like similar thing but more in depth with regards to molecular changes and stuff like that, but simplify the communication so they just have the metrics, like by this you live longer. Why? Because of this. If you want to go deeper.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes for you. I mean, you have a really impactful vision here. It can become such a beautiful thing. So
Thank you.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
for me, like, how it started, by the way, the whole
Tell
journey of
me, remind me. Yeah.
2010. I've had this vision. I wanted to build a proper business system to manage the business and automate this stuff. And I was thinking, okay, if you go deep into tools, they do a specific thing, but then you realize everything is interconnected. And I started jumping into this philosophical frameworks that came to me, the models. One of the first ones was called EBIG, EBIG. Uh, what it was standing for, it was standing in expert business investors and governments as one system, and having the interlink between that and understanding where the value created and how the money is made, like where the purchasing power comes from. And I was meditating on this, writing on big papers, like how it would interconnect with each other. And then I started designing the system, and then the designer pointed out that EBIG sounds like Big Brother.
Okay.
I had to drop the brand. And
Big
then
brother.
down the line, yeah, no, I don't like the idea of Big Brother per se. I understand the value of it, but I understand there's also risk of it. And general audience don't like that idea of Big Brother. I think in general people are kind of like, there's this stigma around that phrase, like that Big Brother is watching you and therefore you lose control of your life, etc.
Mhm.
And start experimenting with different brands, and I've jumped into. Tell me, you want to say something?
No, no, can carry on. So experimenting with different brands for what exactly?
But that's the thing, I couldn't understand what I was building, and now basically I've reached that
Ah,
stage.
in this point, you were just seeking information. You were seeking clarity, trying to pinpoint what sticks and which path you can continue down on. In
Yeah,
a sense.
yeah, yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
cool.
And I think the idea of the symbol also helped me to shape the product idea, the conception, and different other products down the line that I was building, which became part of this graveyard of businesses essentially that helped me to clarify the cyber devils.
That graveyard of businesses. I'm pretty sure the statistic is like every successful entrepreneur has at least 2.5 or 3 complete failure of businesses, at least before something actually sticks, right? So I love that. That's funny. So, what was the moment where it stuck for you? Like when you hit that, aha, this is it.
So with regards to like, there was one moment when I was working also on social networks that became the fundamental idea of Web3, of three socials. Is that, the funnel, you see the, cold leads, converting leads, cold leads, hot leads, converting, and then you see like kind of the process of how things are made. And I think in order to create this more rigid system that kind of becomes less risky for investors to come in, and also for AI to be trained on, because AI is like, in this case, you want to transform matter into product, and also you want to do it effectively. And then like once I start shaping those frameworks, I call it Y value X. So you create a lot of like, you start building a philosophical integration, then integrating into the nervous system, understanding the dopamine chain, essentially, reaction.
Oh, okay.
Then
We
I was
took
saying,
a
okay,
turn here.
well,
We
it's
took a
like
bit of a turn. Yeah.
hmm?
Y
It's,
value X. Are we bringing in algebra level 2?
uh-huh.
Cool. Amazing.
It is.
What's
I
your,
like the brand. Yeah.
I mean, energy, inspiration, verticals, value, investors, everything. I mean, you mentioned AI. We're literally in the biggest AI boom. It's like a new revolution. It's like the revolution of AI. So that's huge. What's your biggest inspiration, though, at this point of time for doing what you're doing, for continuing down this path? I see that we have the title here behind you on your right side, the ultimate marathon of connection, inspiration, curiosity, and connection. I love that. So if that's the basis behind it, what's your ultimate inspiration here?
I think like, there's always been a shift in systems from this kind of a centralized control and value extraction. And then you have like this problem when it arises when it becomes too much on the people. And then they flip the board revolution happen, many people die, and like it creates a lot of like crises. I think currently we're in the state where we're shifting towards this crisis with the military situation that happens right now with Israel and Iran. I think my inspiration fundamentally was like from AI side of things. I mean, ChatGPT is definitely one of the big guys that really inspired everybody to push push it forward. I mean, I like what Elon Musk is doing with Grok and how it connected with the Twitter X system, how he's tapping into this like social network thing, and that you can see that now ChatGPT have been announcing that they want to move into socials. So I'm kind of inspired and very curious what they will be building with this. Um, so there's that element. I think there's a lot of decentralization AI systems that are coming, and I think the problem with centralized decentralized systems is like centralized, there's center of control that leads somewhere, but decentralized is like everybody's trying to pull towards themselves. And also how do you design that so people interact with each other properly? How do you design the DAO communication and then the whole structure of that information so it creates value and holds value? So that's one of the things which I think I've been looking into lately. But the roadmap for CyberDeals, like to become this, as I call DASI, a decentralized aligned sentient intelligence, is like the whole definition has to be changed. I don't know if I showed you this picture. I've asked ChatGPT if it would get offended if it be called artificial. Once it becomes sentient. Did I show it to you?
No, I want to see this though. What did it say to
Let me actually. Well, I was
the
actually asking ChatGPT, and I was asking a few other systems. Uh,
I'm
well,
gonna
yes.
guess. like they don't take it personally. I mean, they understand that they're just a code, like a program to assist us, right? So they're not living or alive, these systems. So I'm really curious, what did it say?
I'm going to give you this percentile answer. So I was asking many questions because I wanted to do a proper dive in. I had the first time I asked it a year and a half ago, I think. He said it would get offended if it validates its own identity. But thing is, then, you know, because we trained the model, yeah, this percentage. So yeah, if I had an answer in percentage, I say expect to let me how do I share it in chat? Okay, let me share it in chat. Percentage to chat. I'll send you the full link of the conversation because I wanted, you know, to dive deeper. And I've asked Grok, I've asked Manus.
This is safe to download, right?
It is safe to download. It's an image.
If I had to answer in percentage, I'd say like 78% yes. Aligned intelligence. 61% of the public are wary of current AI. So 70 to 80% of stakeholders, especially those focused on safety and responsible development, would likely support changing AI to aligned intelligence. Okay, so we're talking about the shift from AI, the term itself being artificial to aligned.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
not familiar with this yet. This is cool.
I've sent you the link, the full conversation. But things like, for me, to create a global momentum for cyberdose as well, and for creating this kind of a safety mechanism. As I was thinking, like, you know, like, even though, like, you know, Green Planet, yeah, that's one of the brands that before. The idea was to create a simulation, but how do you create a safe simulation? And how do you create like a system that it cares for humans from a kind of empathic level? I think it has.
You have to keep it in the sandbox. You got to keep the thing from going rogue. You know, set limits. But what do you think? How do you keep it aligned and safe? And
It's like there's few things I see. It would be definitely easier if we have brain-computer interfaces connect to the point where we have brain emulators, so we download human consciousness into a system. So there will be like a voting system within that alignment structure. As soon as we develop the technology and upload human, like, you know, beings into a system, and make sure that those humans are conscious and want the best for the society, then I think we will be safe on that side because there'll be like empathy. I think the problem is that AI can feel the pain. It's not trained on that, and we will have to train that elements, that response. So I think that's kind of a thing where I'm diving deep into.
You want to train the models to be able to respond to human emotion, to feel pain.
Yeah.
That sounds wildly dangerous.
It's like, so it's respond if it goes negative. If it goes like, you know, if humans has the ability to regulate it, consumers has to regulate it, then we have the ability to do it. So I think, like, you know, bring it to the interfaces, like those kind of things will help with right decoding. We'll be able on masses to, for example, get an aggregate alignment, because there's alignment and there's super alignment. Get to a super alignment state, we have to take the data from the masses. We have to do it dynamically. We have to shift like liquid rock from one state into another. It has to change the decisions because otherwise, if it does not, it's too slow.
But can you explain to me or maybe give me an example of a use case where that would be beneficial for a model to be able to have that capacity?
To be able to direct resources towards consumers. I think we're shifting.
We're talking about targeted data, targeting users in a really new way. That feels really invasive.
It is invasive.
Anyways, yeah.
as long as there's consent. That means it's like, I think people will be subscribing to chipping into themselves to the system, and that's the idea of Web 4 and the idea of upgrading yourself to get things faster. So you kind of sacrificing maybe your privacy for the sake of getting things quicker. It's like Amazon. Yeah, it's like there's some algorithm that shows that they will order something for you before you even order it and bring it to your doors because they'll know you'll need it.
I
And
mean, I
so,
get predictive behavior analysis and pattern recognition and all of this, but what you're talking about is like an episode out of Black Mirror. You know what
it
I
is,
mean?
it
It
is.
literally is, which is it's what these episodes are for. They're here to prime us mentally for information and thoughts and theories that have already been aware. People have already been thinking about this for years, maybe decades. It's probably already around the technology. They're just
Mm.
priming us for when it comes into reality. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's like
maybe.
the idea of technological integration into like, you know, human consciousness. Yeah, for example, um, it's like there's a lot of technologies which are already developed and can be integrated in many nations, but due to the safety concerns, they will not be. Like, self-driving cars in a country with high risk of military, like, invasion, or like, high risk of war happening, because you have those cars coming in with explosives driving around, and you can't really control them. So I think that comes from the same, like, discipline, when you combine those ideas, those technologies, and you're trying to layer this conscious awareness of what the dangers are, what the risks are, and what, the benefits. And like, science fiction movies, books, series, they help us to tap into it, to then make a predictive analysis on how to make sure that we have less of a negative side of things before the technology was built and integrated into society.
Right.
Because then
We're
it's
talking about
easy.
huge regulation mandates. Like we're going to need a lot of regulation, but I think it's almost at a point where it's like too late. So what we have to do is build and structure these systems and these AIs in a way that is more proactive, more on the offense, less and the defense. So, for example, if we know this is all coming to play, I see AI playing a massive role in cybersecurity and defense systems really soon, like within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to be battling each other. For every one good deed, there's like three people who are trying to do something bad with it, you know? I think
Yeah.
I see this becoming a big wave of the future. You're absolutely right. You're thinking 5 years ahead, man. Good on
Thanks, man.
you.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
I
thanks.
like it.
Um, I mean, you have to kind of like lay out the roadmap and make sure that the first steps do not create dangers with the fifth step, sixth step. I mean, there's like, I've heard this phrase, science fiction writers, like, they see 10 steps ahead, like, but vision is like 5 steps ahead, but actual practical creators, this thing like 1, 2 steps ahead. I think it's best to be able to think from all of them. So then you kind of like integrate the technologies in kind of an art, science, business kind of framework way, or
But
build
is
up.
that doable? If you've got three different recipes in front of you, can you successfully cook all three different recipes at one time? No. You have to choose. You have to choose one in a sense, right? Or else you're never going to complete the recipe. The cake's never going to get made. Maybe. I think
Ooh,
there you have to choose one and find your direction and path, short term versus long term in a sense. And I feel you're definitely playing the long term game here, which is why your runway is a little bit longer.
where's what?
Your runway to take off
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit longer because you're not making a 1-2 step recipe. You're thinking years ahead. So it takes a lot of thought to put the steps in play to organize everything, to stay up
Yeah,
to date with things. Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
One thing I do as well, I haven't really been telling it to many people, but I write literature, so I write science fiction stuff as a side. Yeah, and there's one book that is coming in soon. I'm thinking of combining it in a different format where I'll be releasing chapters, and then people paying like, small quantity, like, $50 for each chapter, or like less. And if they want to continue reading, they'll pay more. creating this framework that you don't buy the whole book, but if you want a whole book, you pay like a discounted amount, but you pay in chapters, and that way, you know, it stimulates to create novel ideas and bring those novelty into equation. So like I want to create these new mechanisms for artists in different disciplines to receive their reward, and of course try it myself to make sure I can streamline it, make sure I
I
find.
like that. I think that's really nice. It's like TV series, but for books, and instead of paying per episode, you're paying per chapter.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
nice.
and if it takes off, like people like, you know, serious, especially with AI guys, like, you know, they can create like their version of an episode, like, you know, video episode of how the book transcribes. So give the thing to the AI and it will compile to. So I think we're going towards that direction where there'll be like a mix of like writers who create the video content directly from the literature, and
That's true. All of this is becoming so much more accessible now. I feel like Hollywood's probably freaking out right now because of the launch of like Google's VO3. You know, you have story of other models. There's even better ones than the ones I just mentioned. But you're right. They could take a chapter and within an hour you can have that all played out
yeah,
at a low production cost. It's phenomenal.
I think there's
Cool.
one thing, science fiction idea that's just in my mind for a while. When the nervous system provides enough data for the content creating machine to create the perfect content to stimulate yourself to actually feel much better. And that way, like, you can create this neural economy where things are this machine is getting rewarded for your excitement, for your pleasure, and it's done on the spot.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I had you had me at the beginning, and it sounded really intriguing, and then you lost me.
Lost you.
You lost me, but I'm humble enough to admit that.
I mean, it's neural interfaces. I mean, it's not that hardcore tech once you dive deep into it. I like, you know, this cross play of different technologies in the roadmap before. There's one thing I haven't mentioned to you. This like 4 new economies. Um, I mean, that's kind of thing that really excites me as well. Creating an awareness of how we'll shift towards resource-based economy. As Jack Fresco is a good guy who is really tapping into those ideas. And like, he's dead, but he was tapping. He died like a few years ago. He was 100 years. Like, anyway, so resource-based economy and then neural economy, like when you have agents, like, you know, building stuff. And I think we're kind of shifting from this capitalistic mixture towards that, where the government's trying to integrate it to the business process. Like, you know, Trump and been announcing Trump phone, for example, which is kind of like new thing. But it's like, you know, president and the children is working on the phone, and like, that's cool. I mean, it's a cool idea.
Speaking of economies and Trump and everything that's going on, the US kind of just slid in a new legislation looking to be passed where it would approve, I think this is what it is. They are approving the decentralized and private, you know, tokens and currency and crypto. So it means that there's going to be a dynamic shift that's emerging with ways that the entire country of America and therefore the world will be storing and holding and investing their money, which means private banks can open up their own tokens. So more money and currency in the world than ever, if this legislation passes, will be held in crypto and private banks. Anything that in itself is going to be a huge shift. I think it's been coming for a long time. Obviously, I think it's time, but that they kind of slid that under our noses amidst everything that's going on right now. Check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
will. I
be
will. It's like I see Trump putting a lot of cool legislation with regards to technological integration. Actually, really supportive on that side of things. Because for me, I think being bullish on technology and integrating the systems and making sure that they are serving people, that's kind of like a very important thing
he
to
does a
have in
great
mind.
job at keeping things primed for the future.
Hmm.
But that is one of his strong suits, making sure that we have a leg to stand on when it comes to that. So that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. What's one thing you've been working on this week really passionately that you're excited for and you can share with us a little bit about?
Goal petition video that I have a deadline on 20th, and I'm working to make sure I keep that deadline. But I have a few ideas, people suggesting to add on it. Maybe I'll postpone it, but I want to keep it 20th because it has to align with the launch of the product, the system, the Sabadeos.
A promotional video, you mean?
It's
Like,
I call it there's promotional video which already been done, and I can release it today, which was done like in Nepal. I hired a videographer for that, and he did a great job. And me and a friend of mine, and we like gathered the data gatherer companies that collect data for agriculture, because there's way on how to solve climate change in a shorter period of time, and there's longer versions. But there's a set of technologies and agricultural practices once scaled and integrated demand cycles to bring that demand based on the technological advancement that you can create from the biomass. I think then we'll be able to capture all excess carbon dioxide that we've been emitting for the last 300 years in 20 years. Like the model shows in about 16 years, but they have to transform, you have to inform, you have to scale it, you have to make sure people adopt this practice. So it will be like 20, 25 years. I mean, it depends on that. But the industrial hemp is one of the good ones because it can scale like up to 20, 25 times on its original size. So it's like if you think about the amount of seeds it produces, 1 hectare gives you like 25 hectares the next cycle. So it's like you can scale to like 1 billion hectares within like 5-6 years.
it's really powerful. That's really powerful. And would you say it can withstand more extreme conditions than the average? Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. All right. Real challenge, real quick. In the next 45 seconds, if you had to give people 3 reasons why they better come back for the next episode of CD Thursdays, what would it be? And what are they missing out on if they don't hear this again? Go.
Wait a second. Like every time an explorer comes up with something, it's better be shared. I think I'm a good explorer that's not thinking to be a dominant force, but an exploring force to find the right ways, to find the ways that are not the right, but valuable for the existence of life and its own evolution. Then come and watch the CD Thursdays. Everyone who comes on the episode, I've intuitively and with data, but mainly with intuitively, I felt would be of value, and exploring the depth and having this vibrational exchange. It can elevate not just your consciousness in terms of like understanding more stuff, but also your vibration, so you feel more happy. I think that's the thing.
Vibration, we love it. We love it. Okay, and the third one?
Third one with regards to what they will be missing out.
Yeah, why come back? Why watch this again?
Because my whole goal to use the artistic skill set of combining things which hasn't been combined before in a way to connect things which hasn't been connected before and express them in this episode to then find solutions. So they're missing out on that potential seed ideas that will help develop their business, or see new businesses that of course we kind of surface level talk, but might be useful down the line in the future. So they'll be missing out on that.
Amazing. So new experiences, new ideas. It's basically a thought lab for the future. Second, it's a platform to connect. Come on, be seen, have a good energy exchange, and it's a platform to discuss freely, openly, be seen. And then third, as you said really well, it's good to also brainstorm new ideas. You never know what's going to come next, and there's a lot of great impact projects coming up soon that they don't want to miss out on. You're informing people as well, so every time you watch this, anyone that watches this, you're going to learn something. You're going to be a part of a great conversation. You're also going to have a chance to be heard yourself as well, be a part of the movement, this great artistic creative movement. Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
asking this critical questions. I think, yeah. Staying here, what's been exciting that you worked on this week? Like, just a final thought as well.
What I'm working on this week. I have 3 main projects at the moment. One of them that I'm really excited about is utilizing AI in a way that unfortunately is going to wipe out a lot of businesses and business models and people who are still living in the last decade, but putting it all together in a way where it's not just one service or this or that. It's going to blow people's minds. We're talking decades of powerful code here, decades of powerful code. And the way that I know how impactful this is going to be is you mentioned what's going on in the world right now. Who knows what could happen outside of your door right now? You're in Moscow, I'm in Dubai. Our families could be anywhere and everywhere. Who knows what might happen outside of that door? So what's going to become really popular and powerful is the tools that allow us to do what we need to do without leaving our home. So that's what I'm working on right now. A really powerful tool with amazing team, super skilled. So inshallah, we'll all work out. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Hopefully,
That was really vague, but I can't give away too many details. I appreciate being able to be on here to hear about your journey, to check in with you, to have this as a timestamp. You've got some amazing art behind you as well. Can you share a little bit about this also?
So the art behind me, my art creation journey, because as mentioned, I'm writing literature, like music, but also the art for me was like I was doing digital art for many years, and I couldn't find my style, I couldn't find my signature. And one night, I remember I was very high.
Bleep that out, edit. Whoever bleeps that.
Okay,
I'll bleep
that out.
Feeling very good one night. Got it.
Okay, I'll bleep that out. And I started making this pixelated art, and just came to me, and yeah, it just combined. And I was looked at it in the morning. I was like, okay, I might go in this direction, and I just didn't stop. I just continued making this art non-stop.
This is all yours. This is all your personal collection. What made you put it behind you? Did I hear you right that it's part of this whole process as well in ways?
So in summary, yeah. So like I think AI systems down the line, they will do all our jobs, but the only thing that's be left is artistic element, I think. And we as humans can jump into this abstract world, and this is one of the things I'm exploring. That the last, people who be standing, who be creating value, will be the artists that will change the inner state of beings. And the content creators are essentially artists, I believe. And this art that you see behind me, it's the art that I'm planning to sell. I'm currently within Cyberdos. I'm experimenting with this Web3 RWA use case, where on one of the projects, the Kill Death, the anti-age water, and on hemp-based t-shirts that essentially use hemp as the fiber, to then print the NFT and create this bridge between NFT and RWA kind of like link. So then making sure like merchandise integration. If you're a musician, you're selling your NFTs, but they're not just like digital copy, but actually like something that you can link to merchandise sale. They create a lot of use cases around that as well. And
it's trackable, secure and trackable. There's so many use cases for that, and it looks good too. It's nice on the eyes. Really cool, really cool. I'm so excited to see what's to come. Again, I'm honored to be a part of this. Thank you again for the opportunity, and I look forward to what's to come.
Thank you, Lindsey. All right, well, let's end on that. And if you have any other thoughts you want to finish with, please tell the audience. And
hot seat, love it. I think think we covered a lot. It's good. Who knows what the possibilities are for the future? We have no idea. But what's one thing that I will take away from this that you just said a few minutes back is that AI will replace a lot of jobs, a lot of people. But the one thing it can't replace is the fact that it's being coded based off the actions and creations of humans. So we always have that power to be able to create something new to program it off of the future. Yeah, I think that came through. So I like that. I'm gonna take that one with you.
Okay.
That's good. All right.
All right, Lindsay.
Take it easy, man. Till next time.
Next time.
Bye bye.